Hey everyone, it's FLAK. During the Battlefield 2042 post-launch lull, DICE and EA have been hard at work making changes to the game behind closed doors. According to developers, pretty much the entire Battlefield team remains on 2042, working on a number of issues and improvements. Some of that work can certainly be seen in the most recent patch, but we do know that there is plenty on the way, including an overhaul to the much-maligned Specialist system. However, developers have also been working on new content for the game, and some of those efforts are just now starting to come to light, mostly thanks to vigilant data miner Temporal. Everything we're going to discuss in today's video is unconfirmed and should be taken with a grain of salt. That said, given the radio silence from DICE, it is honestly hard to discern where they're taking Battlefield 2042, but some of this info gleaned from the game files points to a few interesting and encouraging directions. I will say primarily I am thrilled to see a much more team-oriented focus, so let's talk about that. In the game files, Temporal has found references to a number of traits, specialties, and gadgets that might make an appearance at some point in the game's future. One of them is a trait called Target Acquired. This ability spots enemies for your team automatically when you aim down the sight of your weapon. It is not clear if this would function in the same manner as other active spotting abilities found in Battlefield 2042, most notably those that belong to a Pike and Rao. I think that would be a little bit excessive, so perhaps it could spot enemies in the same way as the proximity sensor does by reflecting their location on the minimap. Battlefield, of course, has had many different abilities over the years that can spot enemies, from suppression to specialized scope, so I'm certainly not going to say that this is anything entirely new. I will say under the current system, that trait would likely be assigned to a yet-to-be-announced specialist. Another trait is called Eye in the Sky. This ability automatically spots enemies while airborne. Again, exactly how this would work is unknown, as well as who the trait would be tied to. Currently in Battlefield 2042, some vehicles have similar abilities to detect nearby enemies and display their locations on the minimap. Tying it to a specialist could be particularly interesting if they have the ability to stay airborne for a significant period, or it works while in vehicles. Eye in the Sky seems like it would be very effective if you were assaulting an objective from a rooftop or parachuting down from a helicopter. I could see it being very useful on a map like Kaleidoscope, for example. Temporal also found reference to an improved repair tool in the game files. This gadget supposedly repairs at a faster rate and automatically replenishes vehicle health while the specialist is inside the vehicle. Given that there is an existing repair tool in the game, I think that this would probably wind up as a specialty for some kind of vehicle-oriented specialist. And I will of course say vehicle health regeneration is nothing new in Battlefield. It exists in Battlefield 2042 to an extent. Support players in Battlefield 5 also had their own edge when it came to repairing vehicles, so nothing unheard of here. Similarly, what appears to be another specialty was uncovered in the Battlefield 2042 game files, talking about something called electrified barbed wire. That may soon make an appearance. Likely familiar to many players of Rainbow Six Siege, barbed wire is an excellent tool for denying enemies routes of ingress or egress from buildings or other spaces. I would imagine it would function similarly in Battlefield 2042, though the electricity perhaps cause some extra damage. Maybe it would scramble the target's UI. Don't really know. And we've talked about a lot of abilities and things here that you may be on the fence about. I would say that's totally understandable. Again, we don't know if these are going to make it into the game or not, and certainly if these things do make it into Battlefield 2042, we don't know how they'll work, right? There is a lot of room to find a balance between being just about useless to completely breaking the game, right? It's a bit of a spectrum there. What I do think is important to take away from the latest Datamine info is that these items are heavily focused on team play and coordination, which is something that Battlefield 2042 distinctly lacks. If you look at all the specialists in the game right now, the vast majority carry specialties or traits that are incredibly individualistic and don't really support team play. Admittedly, there is another trait hidden in the game files that's called Ghost Walker, which should probably just stay out of the game. With this, going prone removes you from the enemy combat network, which I assume includes the minimap, and while prone you are undetectable and can crawl faster than other specialists, so yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and say yeet that out of here. Meanwhile, Temporal found references to a couple new vehicles in the Battlefield 2042 game files. This includes the RIB and jet skis, as well as a stealth Russian helicopter called the KA-99 Hannibal. The KA-99 features a double-barreled 30mm autocannon and an arsenal of rockets and anti-tank guided missiles, which admittedly I'm not too thrilled about. I am, however, much more interested in what they're calling the RAH-68 Shoshone helicopter. Like the traits and specialties mentioned earlier, this vehicle seems to be heavily team-oriented. According to its description, it is faster than the KA-99 and features integration as part of an air-launched effect system. From the sounds of it, the Shoshone will tie into the combat network, sharing targeting information to friendly players and expanding the range of friendly smart munitions, probably in a way similar to the SOFLAM or the drone. I will say I am here for this, and I'd be really happy to see vehicle players play a much more supportive role rather than just completely farming kills, which is what we tend to see a lot in Battlefield 2042 right now. But overall, there are some really interesting tidbits uncovered by Temporal in the Battlefield 2042 game files. Again, none of this is officially confirmed, but I am pleased to see what looks like a shift in direction. If some of these abilities and vehicles end up in the game alongside that significant and meaningful rework to the game's much-maligned specialist system that we've been looking forward to, DICE has a fighting chance to turn Battlefield 2042 around. I would still love to see other team-oriented abilities. I had previously suggested a capture multiplier, maybe a deployable jammer, but any movement towards the teamwork-rich environment that Battlefield players have enjoyed in the past, and that environment helped fuel the rise of the franchise. So I think we really need to get back to that. Anything that pushes us in that direction is music to my ears. So fingers crossed that some of this stuff, more team-oriented things, do get pushed into Battlefield 2042. I am curious what you think, however. What are your thoughts on the abilities, the vehicles, equipment, everything that we talked about here today in this video? Should they make it into the game? Do you have any suggestions for what DICE should add? Tell me down below in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If not, a dislike. Make sure to subscribe and tap the bell to get notified of all upcoming Battlefield 2042 videos. If you want to support the channel, keep your money, share this video, or consider checking out some of our channel sponsors. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.